This next tip is a total game changer when it comes to organization. What's up guys, welcome. Today I'm going to share with you some really useful camping tips and hacks. So this is specifically for car camping when you can drive up to a campsite. These are some of the things that I've just learned over the years that make it a lot easier when you go camping. First up, I recommend bringing a bunch of stasher bags. Now, I've talked about these in another review video that I did of reusable bags, but these are my favorite for car camping. They're made of silicone, and I always bring a big stack of these when we go camping because they're great for leftovers. I love to cook outdoors. I love making food in the Dutch oven and the cast iron over the campfire, but we have leftovers. And so these are great because they don't take up a lot of space, and you can put leftover food in here and then just slide these into the cooler. So bringing a stack of these is definitely one of my favorite tips. Next up, along the lines of sort of storage, is these gelato containers. So if you guys get this gelato ice cream stuff, well, gelato is different than ice cream, I think. But anyway, these gelato containers are awesome for all sorts of things. We save them, and they have a nice little screw-on lid, and they're pretty durable. So they're great for not only storing food stuff, but also cords and just little knickknacks that you might have to bring camping. This is great for storing that. In here, as you can see, I have some instant rice. So a lot of times you don't want to bring a huge box of rice or a huge box of pancake mix. You can actually just put a serving or two in these containers and then take these camping. My next camping hack is to bring fire starters because it just makes things so much easier. So here, I actually have these DIY fire starters. I'll link to the video that I made on these below because these are made with things that you probably already have in the house, and they burn for about 10 minutes. So they're awesome to have on hand. We just keep them in our camping bins, and then we always have these to help us start a fire really easily. Next up is some cooler hacks. In our cooler here, as you can see, we actually do not have store-bought ice cubes. Instead, we freeze these gallon Gatorade containers. So obviously this is just water in here, but we've reused these. We have 2 of them in the cooler right now. Instead of buying big bags of ice at the store, this will actually stay frozen a lot longer. And so it keeps things in the cooler cool a lot longer. And then another thing about this is if for some reason you do run out of water, or you're somewhere where you don't have access to refill your water jug, you can technically drink this as it melts instead of having to drain it out of the cooler as the store-bought ice cubes melt. So this is sort of one of our biggest camping hacks, and then we'll take this home and actually just put it back in the freezer, and it's ready to go for the next camping trip. My next hack is to actually clean and wash all of your vegetables at home so that when you get to camp, all you have to do is just start to cut and prepare your meals. So just washing everything at home first will save you a step at camp when there's often limited water and no sink. And then as you can see here, we've opened some of these chicken sausages last night, and so I just put them in a stasher, and they're perfect for storing in the cooler. My next tip / hack is to bring cash, specifically some of the smaller bills like 1s and 5s, because a lot of times you need exact change for the camping fee. And I have gone camping so many times and I did not have the exact money. So you have to give more, or you have to go find some other campers and ask them if they have change. And it's just a serious pain. So making sure that you have a bunch of 1s and a bunch of 5s, or even checking the camping fee before you go to make sure that you have the proper amount of bills, makes things a lot easier when you're at camp. So my last hack is, I think, the best one, and that is to stay organized with bins. So I have 2 bins here. This bin is for a lot of our camp cooking essentials. So there's no food in here. It's just things like the cast iron pan, a pot, silverware, plates, spatula, stuff like that. That always just stays in this bin. And then this one is for pantry items and things like snacks and our coffee and other food items. So we always have this distinction so that we always know where things are. The other benefit is when we get home, we wash and clean anything that's dirty, but then we put it back in here and we're basically ready to go for their next camping trip. So there's not as much packing and stuff to do because you just stay organized. With the pantry bin, bin, we actually keep a set of spices as well. So we have some salt, pepper, and just the common spices that we use that we always leave in that bin. So that's just one less thing that I have to worry about packing when we're going on a camping trip. In addition to that, we leave things like a box of mac and cheese and ramen and some Indian food, things that don't go bad. We just leave them in there so that I know I always have some sort of extra or backup dinner in there in case I forget an ingredient for something else that I was planning on making, or I just want to stay longer. I always have some backup meals in that bin. This makes things so easy when you go to camp. If you feel overwhelmed by like camping gear that you need, just stay organized, take some time to put some things in the bin, get a second set of spices, get some pantry items. It will just make things so much nicer when you go to camp. There you have it. I hope that these camping tips and hacks are helpful as you go on your next camping trip. Make sure to comment below with some tips that you have or any questions that you have about camping. Hit that subscribe button before you go, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.